So here we are at Alsace for a 57 lap race, or basically a full leg, the Grand Prix. I already calculated the distance, and that's basically just over 300 kilometers, pretty equivalent to like the Bahrain F1 track. I think this track is pretty similar to that one, so I just basically matched the laps. And unlike the last stream, I was having trouble understanding what people were saying, so this time I have the little comment bars on the sides, and I also increased the volume of any comments. So hopefully if anyone that does tune in at any point, I'll be able to answer any questions and I'll be able to understand what you're saying. So let me know what you think about this format, if you like the comments on the sides. But anyways, let's just go into the settings of what this race is. So first of all, just like a normal F1 race, we're going to be required to do a tire swap. So we're going to start on our racing medium tires, but then we're going to switch over to the racing hards at some point just to get that change of compounds in there. And looking at the race settings, last race at Austria, we had an issue where we caught the field too quickly, so we're actually going to give them a little more time to get ahead of us at the start, and also we're going to have a tire wear rate of 3 times instead of times 2, so that should make the tire change a little more dramatic, make it we should be able to see a bit more fall off than we did last time. Again, we have the shortcut penalty, and it's a one-make race. So yeah, that's basically the summary of what we're going to do here. But yeah, the only difference between this and normal F1 races, we're using the closest F1 car they have in the game, which is the Super Formula here. We actually got the Mercedes F1 livery on, so that looks pretty cool. And we're gonna give the rest of the pack a 4-lap head start. So that's basically the only catch other than the normal F1 race, just because the AI is a bit slow. So while we're waiting for the AI to get that 4-lap head start, we can just kind of look around the track here. You can see our livery. We got the Mercedes logo on the front. That blue front wing looks pretty nice. And we do a bit of overtake, as you can see that green little ring over like the... I don't even know what you call it, like I should know what they call this, like, but wherever that green ring is behind the head of the driver, basically right above the halo, you can see that basically turns off or it starts blinking when I activate the overtake, but I'm not planning on using any of that in the race, other than maybe like the final few laps when I'm going to get going for the fastest lap. So you can see we're starting on our racing medium tires. That'll hopefully be the softer compound, but the faster one. And based on what we've seen from our last race, we should be able to make it like 90% of the way on fuel, but our pit stop will probably just add a little more fuel just to make it to the end. What the estimates show right now is 25, but that'll just continue to fall. It should increase once we start to catch back up to the pack. So I see someone's joined the broadcast, so thank you for tuning in and watching. Yeah, so I really wish that we could have done the actual French GP at Paul Ricard, but basically we had 2 options. We either had Alsace, whatever you want to call this track. I never know if you have thoughts about what you think it's actually called. You can try to pronounce it in the comments, but it was between this and Saint Croix, or I've heard Saint Croix, a lot of these French tracks, man, they're so hard to pronounce, all of them. But yeah, there was a bunch of different layouts for those, and I just felt that all those tracks are kind of, I would say all the St. Croix ones, they have like a lot of walls in between them, and it just kind of get a bit narrow, and I feel it feels like a street circuit, and I feel like this track, you just kind of get a little more variety. You kind of get like some banked corners, like kind of at one point, then you get like the downhill chicane, just a lot of elevation change, and I think that makes it pretty interesting. So, in GT7, or in GT6, GT Sport, sorry, I was blinking real bad, but in GT Sport, they just had this layout along with the reverse layout, but now in GT7, we have the option between this track and the test course, and I was like, well, if we're going for French Grand Prix, I guess we could have also chosen the test course as an option, but I just felt like for an F1 or like a Super Formula track, the test course would have just been a bit too short, so that's why I decided to choose this track to represent our mock Formula 1 race here. So, no, there's not a race this weekend, so I thought, why not have the GT7 race weekend be here? Anyways, the whole field has already lapped us once, so we're just waiting for them to lap us 3 more times. I know this seems like a lot of waiting, but I seemed like when I did some practice, I was around like 5 to 6 seconds a lap faster, and I feel like it's not been, I don't know if it's been confirmed, but it seems like the AI has some rubber banding issues, where it's like if you're really far behind them, then they're just going to go really slow, like I'm going to be 4 laps, and so I'm probably going to gain a lot more time on them during when I start to catch up to them early on. But then once you finally pass them, then they start to accelerate more. So it's like professional level difficulty isn't really a level. It's kind of like an adaptive difficulty, which I kind of dislike, honestly. I wish that it was just a solid difficulty, that way you could constantly judge. Since they're getting 2-minute lap times now, but I feel that they can probably go, I don't know, 5 to 10 seconds faster. And I mean, once we get back on track, we'll finally see what our pace is. But coming across the line here, did they improve at all? I mean, even though tire wear and fuel is pretty low, you would think that after their second lap, they would be going faster. Thought they started at a standing start that first lap, but apparently that's not the case. So, really weird. Anyways, lapped us twice now. We're halfway until we're gonna start going. So I see 2 guys have started watching. If you're wondering what the heck we're doing here parked, in case you just tuned in, we're basically doing a full F1 race distance, 57 laps at the Alsace racetrack, trying to replicate the French Grand Prix. And the reason that we're just sitting here is because we want to have actually like a race with the AI instead of just beating them in like the first 2 laps and then just pulling away. So we're giving them a 4-lap head start. That's why we're just sitting here. And then after the 4 laps, we're going to start going. And hopefully we should be able to catch up to them and get the win by the end of the race, but it'll be at least a little more interesting as we try to fight through the field and fight through the lap traffic, even though we're the lap traffic, I guess, because they're all in the same lap anyways. Try not to make it too confusing. What I do know is that I made this race preset weather, so we shouldn't have to worry about any rain coming in. It should just be kind of sunny, cloudy the whole race. So that shouldn't really throw too much of a wrench into things. If you would like to see a race with rain or some strategy, we definitely have, I mean, this is about like a 90-minute race, maybe a little bit more or less than that, and so we definitely have time to see like rain starting at the start of the race and then coming into sunny and you having to adjust from like the wet line to the dry line or vice versa, dry line to wet line if we made it wet later in the race. So if you'd like to see that we can try that for the next round. I don't even know what the next round is. Is it Hungary in the actual F1 calendar? We're trying to replicate those in Gran Turismo. Obviously they don't have all the F1 tracks, but I was thinking like when we come to the US for like COTA, maybe I could do like Watkins Glen to try to replicate the American Grand Prix. Anyways, the AI's coming to lap us for the 3rd time here, and we're just going to wait for them to lap us one more time. The field's actually getting pretty spread out, so the question I'm starting to wonder is, once the field does finally come to lap us for the 4th time, should we just start going when the leader catches us, or should we start going when the whole field passes us? And I'm leaning towards the latter. I feel that'll make it a little more challenging if we wait for the whole field to pass us first. But, yeah, anyways, we're just about 2 minutes away from going here. You can see that our remaining laps of fuel has continued to go down and down and down. Now it's down to 5 laps, but that's definitely pretty inaccurate from what it actually is. So just getting to admire our Mercedes car. Just going to change a few, you can see from cockpit view, we're probably going to be using bumper cam for most of this race and most comfortable with that, but it's cool to see like the see-through halo here and our wheel. Do we have any, we got the Puma gloves on, looks pretty cool. And then we have this, I guess this is the, I don't know, like TV cam, or the way that you have it's like the T-bar cam is most accurate. See our Petronas rear spoiler there. And there we go. Yeah, that's our car. And yeah, sorry there hasn't been too much action here. I'm actually just going to get up to the finish line, just that way we can be officially 4 laps down. That way we're not having to do any extra distance here. There we go, parking at the finish line. And when we do get our start on, we're going to have one traction control, just that way we're not going to spin the wheels too badly on the start. But see the leader coming up to the final chicane. So we're almost about to start getting our 4 laps down, but we're going to have to let the whole field pass first. But we're going to be going pretty soon here, so think it's about 10 minutes into the stream right now, and you can see bottom left corner, 8 minutes into the race. Leader just about to start lap 5 here, and we still haven't started the race. And but let's just put our brake balance up to 5. I feel like our tires might be cold at this point, but just looking in the back, we're gonna be going pretty soon. And let's see if we can just get into rhythm here. Okay, coming through the tail pack of cars. How many more to go? That's 17th place, waiting for 2 more. 18th, 19th, and we'll be able to go. 3, 2, 1, and we're off. As we're coming across the line, we are 8 minutes and 23 seconds behind the leaders, and we'll just continue to see how that fluctuates every lap. Let's see how much we gain this lap. Out to unlap ourselves for the first time here, bring ourselves to just 3 laps down, and we're making good progress here. Hey guys, I see that we now have 3 viewers watching. Just want to quickly introduce everything that's going on. So we're doing a mock French Grand Prix race, and oh, we actually got 6 viewers watching. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. I know it might be confusing for a lot of you wondering what the heck's going on, but we're doing a French GP, a mock GP, and because there isn't Paul Ricard in GT7, we're basically just doing the closest thing we could find, which is racing at Alsace. And so what we're doing is basically a full Grand Prix distance at Alsace, and because we're racing against AI, they're so slow that we gave them a big advantage, and now we're just seeing if we can claw back the advantage before the end of the race. So we gave them a 4-lap advantage, and now we're just about to get our 2nd lap back from them, so making progress. I see George says never a bully. I tried to get the comments on the side, that way I'd be able to see them and answer them. Since last stream I wasn't able to understand or hear them. So hope you guys are enjoying the race so far. I know we're still pretty far behind, but we're just trying to figure out what the strategy is going to be. We're looking at our medium tires. They're not wearing too bad right now. Just going to chase fuel for a minute, but yeah, our tires are looking pretty good. I'm thinking of maybe pitting pretty late, maybe like switching from our mediums to hards due to our required tire swap, or different tire compound a tire compound swap. I'm thinking of pitting pretty late into the stint, maybe like lap 26 or 27, almost around halfway, because I feel that even if they fall off, they're not going to be that... I feel the hards are going to be much slower, so I feel stretching these mediums as long as possible is the best strategy. But we'll have to see. We're only 7 laps in so far, so catching up to 8th place here. And yeah, it's really hard to tell how much time we're gaining per lap. I feel it's around like 10 to 15 seconds, which is more than we had guessed before. I think we were aiming for around 5 to 6. Once again, I feel like the AI has like adaptive difficulty. Like when you're behind, it's slower. When you're ahead, it's faster. It's weird. But looking at our fuel, it says that we can make it 50 more laps, so we're going to be right on the verge of making it without having to take fuel or not. So we might take just like 1 lap of fuel at our pit stop, but we're looking pretty safe right now. Okay, we finally got past the leader, and now we're only 2 laps down from the leaders now. almost spun there. That was a bit scary. These curbs can grab you at any moment, man. You gotta be ready to react at any moment's notice. We were on a really good lap there. I thought we might get a PB, but might still. I definitely see a 31 being possible. So let's see if we can continue to lower that gap down to 5 minutes and 10 seconds off the leader. And look how spread out the pack is on the track map. Everyone's really spread out, surprisingly. Wow, that car just went around out of nowhere. Well, you can see we have some damage on, so we're gonna... Didn't help our tires, that's for sure. So... you can see the car just does not want to turn. So we're gonna suffer this lap, but just get back into our rhythm, we'll be okay. We were just pushing a bit too hard there. Broke it under 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes behind the leader. Only 11 laps in the race. This car just does not like that banked corner, man. I don't know what it is. Just gotta be really careful. It's 2 laps in a row. That's annoying. I don't even know what I was doing. See that we got 10 viewers right now. Thank you everyone for tuning in to this race. Just want to give a short update on everything that's going on in case you're confused. We're doing a mock French Grand Prix at the Alsace track because we don't have Paul Ricard and GT7, so just gonna go to Chase View. But yeah, we're doing a mock French Grand Prix because there's no Paul Ricard in the game, so we're racing at Alsace, and because there's no F1 car we're using, you can see we have a Mercedes livery on this Super Formula. We're basically doing a full race distance. We're doing just over 300 kilometers, 57 laps here, and we're gonna have the same rules as an F1 race. We're gonna have to do some tire swap at some point throughout the race, and so we're just, the only reason that we're so far back right now is because instead of just pulling ahead of the AI, we wanted to give ourselves a challenge. So we set the AI, we gave them a 4-lap advantage, and we're just trying to see if we can catch up to them right now. So we're just about to, once we get to the lead here, we're going to put ourselves from 2 laps down to 1 lap down. And we're almost, I feel we'll be able to make up, we'll be back to the lead lap before lap 20 is over. So we're definitely making good progress here. Just got to minimize the damage to those rear tires. You can see all the red right now on the rears, and so if we're going to have to make this a one-stop race, we're really going to have to take care of those rear tires since the car is definitely sliding around a lot. So just continuing to manage everything right now. That's basically the update of the situation. Since when the car's by itself, like in clean air, it's mostly fine, but when you catch all the traffic of the guys ahead, your lap times really fall off a lot, so just gotta time how to get around them. Didn't know which way it was going there. I've wrecked that same corner 3 times, and I think I know what it is. I think it's the fact that there's marbles, like on the outside of the corner. And if you just go to the outside, you're gonna get in the marbles, and there's just no grip out there. So it's annoying. It doesn't look like there's one groove there, but when you get out wide, it feels like there's just no grip. So I guess it is really like a one groove corner there. So I'll just try to keep that in mind for the next few laps. But we're only got 4 more cars to pass, and then we'll be under 4 minutes behind the leaders. So luckily the damage goes away after like 30 seconds. So now we're only 1 lap behind the leader. Okay, well we're just over, I'd say, a quarter distance in the race. So say just like the regular French Grand Prix, not the most exciting racetrack or not the most exciting racing going on. Just a lot of like mid-speed corners through here. Oh hey Forza Ferrari, hello, nice to see you in the chat. Thanks for tuning in. We're doing the French Grand Prix at Alsace here, and just to give some info about what's been happening for the first 15 laps. At the start of the race, we gave the AI a 4-lap head start because they're normally so slow that we want to actually have a challenge. So we gave them a 4-lap head start. We are currently just 1 lap down at this point, so we've gained back 3 of those laps. And we're planning on making our tire swap from our racing mediums to racing hards at some point during this race. Looking at the rear tires, they're definitely suffering right now, having a lot of difficulty. Oh yes, last time I had issues with the stream. I was struggling to understand what people are saying. Now that I can, for some reason, I feel like the comments on the side, I feel like I should normally be able to hear them, but anyways, the fact I can see them is good enough for me. So yes, I have developed the stream. I can now see the comments, which is useful for me. And not only that, but before last race we had our just black, normal baseline livery. Now we have our Mercedes, as you can see as I go on the grass a bit, but we got a Mercedes paint scheme for the Super Formula, which makes it look even more like an F1 car, so that's pretty cool. And hopefully we can get it onto the podium, if not get the win. So, last race we had it at 2 times tire wear, this time we made it 3 times, so I think that's why we're getting a lot more tire wear than before. I felt that last race there just wasn't really You might not believe it, but this is actually the 4th time we've wrecked at that corner. There was just no grip there. I just don't know what it is. It might be our tires, I don't know. But I wonder if you can guess what livery I use? Oh, what does Forza Ferrari use? That might be a challenge. Just might be, it's gonna be a wild guess, just throwing it down the air, but I'm gonna guess you might use a Ferrari livery. So, but because we keep spinning at that corner, I'm almost leaning. Should I pit now? Maybe even do a double, like a 2-stop? Pit for mediums again, or should I see if I can make it like 40 laps on, yeah, you spin there GT3. It's a hard corner. It's just, there's so much banking, and I feel like it's 1 lane, everything else is marbles. And even when you do go in there, it's just like, there's so much pressure on the left side tires just from all like the lateral load you're putting on it. So I was like, if I was to 2-stop, I probably would have done like lap 15, lap 30, and then tried to do the last 27 laps on hards, but I feel like we're kind of past that point. I'm leaning towards pitting like lap 21, 22 or something, and then seeing if we can make it like 35 laps from there on the hards. So I'll just do about 3 more laps. Just really trying to survive here. But yeah, things are going well so far. I was mentioning that for these races, last race I set it preset for all sunny. This race I did the same thing, but I was like, maybe for future races, if people would like to see it, I could make it where it's dynamic weather. You might even get some rain in there. I mean, these races, like full F1 distances, they're long enough that we could see rain at the start and then maybe like changing over to a dry track, that long transition, switching from a wet to dry tire. It would be pretty interesting to see that transition. So I'd definitely be interested if people would like to see that type of thing. But yeah, this is already a bit challenging as it is. Then I feel like I'd have to. I always determine how many laps the reason I gave them 4 laps is because in the dry I was like 5 to 6 seconds a lap faster. But if I'm having to calculate how much faster I am in the wet and the dry, I feel like I might just have to be a little bit more conservative of how far ahead I give the AI a head start. Okay, well, I'm going to sleep, so I thought I should check in before. Okay, well, good night, Forza Ferrari. Thanks again for checking in. Hope we're only about a third in the race. Still got ways to go, but thanks for tuning in and watching, and hopefully we'll get a good result at the end. So, yeah, thanks for tuning in, and I guess next time, I don't even know what the next race in the F1 calendar is, but we'll try to find something that's equivalent or close enough. That way we can get a nice race here. So, yeah, still got some ways to go. I do so much work, and then I just ruin it all with that corner, man. I think I'm gonna pit this time. I don't know what I should do. There's never any grip there. I try my best not to wreck, but the car is just sliding everywhere. I'm not even going in there that hot. So let's just pit in for our hard tires now, a bit early. Okay, got our pit stop in. Serving our penalty, and we're back on some fresh tires, 70% fuel. Let's see if we can put in some fast laps now. Yeah, those mediums are almost undrivable. I mean, just that one corner. Well, that was a second and a half. I didn't even plan to go in for the move. He just stopped really early, and so I was like, okay, well, if he's gonna break the early, I might as well go for the pass. So, is this the leader here? This is 5th place. We're almost back in the lead lap here. We're about to unlap ourselves once we pass 5 more cars. Then we're only 2 minutes behind the leader, so... It may have taken us 22 laps, but we are making progress. I just wanted to serve a drive through there. I felt that ramming that car was deserving of some penalty. It was just a bit too rough, so I just wanted to serve that there. Felt it was a bit brutal. Okay. Now that we've served our drive-through penalty for contact, we can continue driving. So, yeah, I feel that I'm not sure if there's contact penalties or not, but either way, I just wanted to do something. I want to pass these guys cleanly. Okay, now let's put in some good laps here. I bet we can beat our best lap of a 32.4. We got some worn hard tires, but they're not really wearing that fast, and our fuel's down to 60%. I think we can put in some good laps here. Finally making some places up to 18th. Oh, hey, Excited Step Pro, that's 69, that is a great name. So, I see that you randomly came in here, just wanted to give a short introduction. Oh, you like what you're seeing? You like, do you like the track, or what do you like is good about it? I just wanted to basically make a mock French Grand Prix because there isn't a race this weekend, and I wanted to, kind of imitate what I'm expecting next weekend, but yeah, I enjoy F1 a lot. That's why I got the Mercedes. Oh gosh, I was the overshoot turn 1 here, but oh, thank you, I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm just getting in a rhythm here. I like doing these endurance races. Just really kind of get into like a rhythm and a flow. And yeah, the plan was basically do like a full race distance of an F1 race, 57 laps, around 300 kilometers, just like a normal F1 race. I believe that the track is almost the same length as Bahrain, and so because Bahrain is 57 laps, I just decided to make it 57 laps here as well. But yeah, I'm basically making the same rules. You need like one tire compound change, so I started on racing mediums. I switched to racing hards, and the plan actually is with around 5 laps to go, I'm going to pit onto racing softs and go for my fastest lap, just like they do in real life. So once I get to around 5 laps to go, if you want to make a prediction for what my fastest lap will be, I'm really hoping I can break under a 130. And as you see, I still have all my overtake left, so it's kind of like DRS, but we're like push to pass. So we're finally gotten into the top 5 here, but yeah, we started 4 laps down in this race, and the AI just isn't really that challenging, so that's why we're having to cut through the field, and we're already halfway through the race. So normally, if I just started and not given them a 4-lap advantage, I probably would be able to get into the lead by lap 2 or something, and I just would have pulled away. So I give them the 4-lap head start, made it a bit of a challenge, and you can see we're just about to get into the lead in the next few laps. So, yeah, it's been a lot of work, but it's also been a lot of fun just kind of fighting through like the lap traffic throughout this race. So, yeah, I'll just, you can see we got the, if we just go on board, just trying to get a good view of the Patronus rear spoiler. I just like the details on this car. There we go. You can see the Patronus on the rear spoiler, so if you ever made this livery, good job to them. I really like all these F1 liveries that they make. So yeah, if you look at the, if you see the gear, like in the bottom center of the screen, it says like 4th gear, now it's 5th gear. If you continue going over to the left, you'll then see like a, you'll see a timer in the bottom right, and then you'll see 4 like white squares between the timer and the gear, and then it says RH above that. That stands for racing hard. So that's the tires that I'm on. So I'm currently on the racing hard compound. So I switched at around, I believe, lap 20 or so. So I've been on them for around 9 laps, and they're the hardest compound. They're the slowest compound, but they degrade the slowest. So the good news is, just like an F1 race, there's no refueling necessary. So you can see if on the right hand side of the screen I have 32 remaining laps, and I only have what it looks like 28 laps to go in the race, so I should be good on fuel. Won't need to pit for any fuel. But just like the end of an F1 race, the car is going to be the lightest at the end of the race, and when I switch on the soft tires, the car should be really fast. So it's all about when we're going to catch the traffic and stuff like that. But yeah, for this race, we basically set it where the whole race is just going to be sunny, but you can also make it dynamic where, like, I could make it from, yeah, I am from the US, I'm actually from, like, the East Coast area, so, but yeah, I'm definitely a F1 fan. I know that it's really popular, like, in the UK and Europe and all that, but I'm one of the, and I'm not necessarily sure if I'm a Mercedes fan more than anything. I mean, I would say I enjoy F1 just like as sports, like racing. I just enjoy motorsports. So, you know, I like Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton. I enjoy Charles Leclerc, even though, or Charlie, Charlie. Gosh, there's so many. What's the Eclair? Like the chocolate, whatever. I don't know how to pronounce these guys' names. They're so difficult, but. You live near Brianza Zone, which is near, oh wow, that's super cool, you live near Monza. Yeah, I've only ever been to one F1 race, which was the 2019, I believe, yeah, 2019 Canadian Grand Prix. That was where Vettel tried to move the signs, the first and second place signs, because like I think he cut the course, went in the grass, and then he got a 5-second penalty. I was there live, and that was my first F1 race. So yeah, that was exciting to watch. I'd love to go to Monza. I would say Monza and Spa definitely on my bucket list. It's just some amazing tracks. Got the Temple of Speed, and then you got cars going up Eau Rouge and just some really famous corners and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, sounds awesome. I'd love to see videos of that, watching Monza in person. That must be just amazing, especially qualifying. So. But yeah, if you look at my YouTube channel, I also do a lot of like iRacing, like Formula 1 racing there as well. I don't really do too much of the F1 games. I have done some hot laps on there, but I just don't exactly, I just feel like the online stuff on the Codemasters F1 games and like the tracks aren't really as laser scanned. I just kind of like I guess the whole gameplay feel of like Gran Turismo. It just feels more enjoyable to me. I feel like you have a lot more cars and the fictional tracks to choose from. So, but you said it's £100 full weekend, and I bought the tickets when it came out 2-3 months ago. Yeah, so I mean, I just know how proactive you have to be when getting like these tickets to the races. And it's not just the tickets, like it's like the Airbnb. Well, I guess if you live close, it's not a problem. But I know I had to like find an Airbnb months before I went to the F1 race, and then you have to try to find the cheap plane tickets months in advance, and it's just a lot of hassle. Just really trying to look for everything with the best deal, and then if you're not close enough to the track, you have to figure out how to rent a car. If you can walk there, yeah, so you can go there by bus. So that's really nice for you. So yeah, we're just crossing over the 1 hour mark right here. So I think we should be done with this race in, I don't know, 25, like 40 minutes or so. So yeah, I'd say hour 40 minutes, similar length to an F1 race. See, we have a 6.7 second gap over second place, and it's really weird how the AI works here. Like, but when we were behind them, we were gaining like 5 to 10 seconds a lap, every lap on them, and then as soon as we get the lead, they kind of hang on. It's like they're rubber banding, so kind of annoying. I wish they just kind of maintain the same pace. I wish they were more competitive when we were behind them, and then. But anyways, that's going to make it a bit more challenging for us to switch on to soft tires. But looking at our lap times, 135, 136, 134, they don't really seem to be falling off too much. It's just all about avoiding going offline. If you go offline, you get into the marbles, things get a bit challenging, and then you lose grip and the car starts flying. But so you said it's 10-15 minutes for you, and you said you live really close, but you said you tried to go to the Imola race, but it was 75 due to COVID, and so tickets got sold out in 1 month. Yeah, I feel that, I mean, oh gosh, getting into the grass there. We didn't spin out though, we saved it, we minimized the damage, but yeah, I feel like the COVID situation, I feel like that was, I mean, before I remember it was like 25% capacity, and now it's 75 and stuff, and hopefully soon, or I don't know if it's now or if they're aiming at September to go full capacity. I was looking at the Austria GP last weekend, and I mean, you saw all the flares going off there and how packed that race was, and it's like, it's nice that they're allowing people to get more seats, and maybe they're less expensive because you have more places you can go. It's not just like the more expensive options. There's no COVID rule, so it's basically full capacity. Okay, now there is. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I don't really care to go into like the politics of what's the right decision to make about whether removing those rules now is the better thing, but obviously it was important earlier, like 2020, 2021, obviously, because I would say the pandemic was like more, people didn't know as much. Obviously, we didn't have the vaccine that people could use, but now that people have that, I feel it's a little bit safer, I guess, for everyone. So increasing the capacity in public spaces is a good decision, and it makes going to these F1 races, I would say, a lot easier, the fact that you have a lot more options. So but Yeah, if I was to choose between going to Imola or Monza, I'd still choose Monza. So even though you couldn't go there, I don't feel like you're gonna be missing out on too much. I mean, I'm glad Imola's back to the schedule, but if it went away from the calendar and we got like Hockenheim or something, or some track that was on there, even like the Nürburgring GP, I feel like I'd prefer Nürburgring GP over that. It's just like, I like the fact that it's old and traditional, and I like they have like the chicanes and like the, I like how brutal like all the curbs are, but I feel like the only place to pass is like that front stretch, and then like, even on the front stretch, that the DRS zone isn't that long. And it's like Monza, you got so many DRS zones, and then like the tight chicanes, which really get exciting passing, and the famous corners of Scari, of course, and then the Parabolica. It's just, yeah, I just feel a lot of historic corners that really get a lot of action. So, yeah, Monza for sure, but I live 3 hours from it. Okay, oh, I looked at your comment, ran into the wall there. But, yeah, that's really convenient for Imola, since, the fact that they're now adding like so many more F1 tracks in the US, they were gonna add like Las Vegas, I think next year if I'm not wrong. So now we'll have COTA in Las Vegas, and then I think they said they're gonna add Florida, Miami. No, but yeah, oh my gosh, I'm brain dead. They added Miami this year, so Miami and COTA this year, and then they're gonna add Las Vegas. So we'd have 3 US on the calendar. The ironic thing is, even though there's 3 in the US, the closest one to me, Miami might be the closest, but it's still like a 10 to 12 hour drive. I mean, COTA and like Las Vegas, they're like 3 to 5 hour flights for me. So it's like, I guess it's just until they. I mean, when they had Indianapolis on the schedule back in like 2005, that was probably closest to me, if anything. I mean, I know they had like tire failures there, and then obviously that like race back in 2005 where there was like what 6 people on the grid, but like the Bridgestone like controversy or whatever, the tire problem that they had back then. I didn't really watch F1 too much back then, so I don't really know the details. But yeah, if they still had F1 races there, or if they brought that track back, I'd probably go to that one for sure, because that's definitely the closest for me. That might only be like a 5 hour drive, which still isn't too close, but probably twice as close than anything. You have to be honest, but Miami and Las Vegas, thanks to the Austin GP, it's proving what we could expect when they said Monaco and Spa could. Okay, we got a long message from you. I'm assuming you're gonna be saying that. I mean, from what I've seen, I don't want F1 to turn into a page. Yeah, I totally get you there, and it's like, it's nice to have tracks in our own country, but you know what, I almost want more than that. I don't want tracks to be built just because they're getting money to have them exist there. I want like good tracks to have been built and then F1 to go there. It's like, no one knew about a Las Vegas track, no one knew about a Miami track. You know what we do have? We have Watkins Glen already. We have Sonoma. I mean, some of these obviously aren't F1 grade, and so they're problematic. We have Laguna Seca, and maybe some of these tracks may have been good in like the 80s, but now aren't as safe, and so I understand they have to build stuff to fit like the FIA grade inspection, but it's like most of these tracks that they're building now just for like these one-off. I mean, it's not necessarily one-off, but I just feel like it just feels like they feel like street circuits, but without the. I don't even know how to describe it. It's like it doesn't have the authenticity of a street circuit. It's like Baku is a street circuit, and it has the castle section, and yeah, it's the business behind those tracks, which is terrifying. It's like Saudi Arabia, like the fact that we got that super long, narrowed track. It's like, I don't want. It's not even like the paid track championship for me. It's like I feel before. There was like the same guy that always made all these F1 tracks. People always, I forget his name, but everyone was like, oh, he shouldn't be making all these tracks. You need other people to develop these tracks. And now that we're looking at all these paid tracks that kind of have this like narrow concrete walls, not really any runoff, and it's like, yeah, 80s, 90s tracks, they're so good. Like, I would say the curbings were a bit brutal because like they're really high, and then they had to kind of smooth them out. And I mean, we had the super big Hockenheim back in like, I don't know, this 90s, 2000s, and then they shortened that, but that was still a great track. It's like, I wish they I feel Melbourne isn't exactly the best example to use for this, but it's like the fact that Melbourne was a great track and then they kind of made it adaptable for the F1 cars by like turning like these slow corners into like faster sweepers. Now I don't necessarily know, or I don't know if I'd argue that that improved it and made it different, but I feel like they're trying to adapt to the current F1 cars and make the racing more entertaining. And I wish that some existing American tracks, whether that be Watkins Glen or I don't know, VIR, like wish they could make like small changes that could make it more F1 adaptable rather than just making completely new tracks. I feel it just costs so much more. And I'd say the problem is a lot of these tracks in the U.S. are kind of more in the middle of nowhere. And I feel like Miami, it's like that makes it so much more accessible to people right in the city. But the problem is the people going to those tracks, it's not really appealing to the American fan base because it's just the prices are so ridiculous that even people that live close aren't gonna be paying the prices to go to them. It's only super rich people, and so. It's like, oh, we have a track in our country. Yes, but there's so many buts that arise with that. So, it's like I feel like I'd rather go to Canada and pay a cheaper price than something that was just more recently built. I feel like it'll probably be cheaper in the long run. And so yeah, Melbourne should be back as the opening GP. Yeah, it's 1,048 pounds for a single day. It's absolutely ridiculous. 1,048 pounds. It's like I think it was what, maybe 250 a high. I think, and I don't even know. Is that 1,048 for like? There's like grandstand tickets, and then there's just like the general admission, where it's like you're just behind the fence. I wonder, is 1,048? Is that just for the general admission? Because. Either way, I mean, and I feel it's kind of ridiculous. Like, just the experience that I had, as while practice is the most exciting, I feel the most exciting part of the whole race weekend is the qualifying, because everyone's really going full pace. You get to, see the cars at their fastest. You get to see. It's forcing. Okay, so sitting place. That makes up for it a little bit, I guess. But I feel that what we see, it's not just the paid tracks. We've seen for a long time how we're getting the paid drivers. We obviously have Stroll with like. His daddy Stroll, and like how he's like a multi-billionaire, and so he's always gonna be with that team forever. He's never gonna get dropped just because his dad's there. He's gonna want to keep his kid in the seat. And then we got Latifi, who's a paid driver, and then I don't say. I bet there's more that I could think of. Those are the two that come to mind mostly. I was trying to think, are Zoe or Tsunoda paid drivers? And I'm not really thinking, I don't really think that's the case. But it's just like the fact that, the thing that kind of upset me the most is Nick DeVries. I remember how well he did in F2, and then he ended up going to Formula E because I guess he just didn't have the sponsorship to bring into F1, and it's just like, it's kind of so sad to see all the talent go into other series. And while these paid drivers are still finishing pretty well in F2 and F3, it's just kind of sad to see them being replaced by other guys. It's like you want it to be the pinnacle of motorsports. It's like I've always thought of F1 as it's like the fastest. The fastest rich drivers. It's not the fastest drivers in the world, it's the fastest rich drivers in the world, kind of. And it's like, well, it's still exciting to see the racing because there's still fast drivers, it's still fast cars, it's still cool to see how different teams work to improve their cars and which constructors make the best like advances technologically through engineering and all that. But yeah, of course, it's those F1 guys that are in F1 as paid drivers, and it's obvious that track selection is also a business. Yeah, I would say one benefit though in terms of business that has improved. I think Bernie Ecclestone, like back in like the mid 2000s to 2010s, like when he was running F1, like the social media presence absolutely horrendous. Like there was like nothing, and now he gets so much extra content on YouTube, and so I feel like that's a really beneficial improvement. The fact that I should know the name of who took over, but Liberty Media, I think that's right. The fact that Liberty took over. They've made such huge in progress, but I mean, spreading the popularity of the sport. But as just as fans like watching videos on YouTube, there is a lot of access and content, and even outside of that, on like the teams' YouTube channels, they always like have content with their drivers. I mean, I just remember like Carlos Sainz and Lando when they were always messing about on like their team social media, how fun they had, and how we always now care about which team has the best like vibe together, or what duo is the best. But you're really not sure that I think Giovinazzi could have done better this year with the current situation at Alfa Romeo. Oh, I don't know why I forgot about this, but Mazepin, another paid driver. Obviously the situation with Russia, but yeah, there's another one. And I mean, just how much he was made fun of. I don't know why I didn't even remember him until now, but Mazepin, the fact that he is a paid driver just absolutely was embarrassing. It was just like he couldn't deal with his engineer telling him what to do while he was racing, could only do one thing at a time, crashed a lot, always running last, and just couldn't do 2 corners at Bahrain before wrecking. Just, that, it was like, we always made so much fun of him. And I think the ironic thing is how much Mick Schumacher consistently beat him, and then when K-Mag finally came in this year, now K-Mag seems to be almost beating Mick every time, and so I feel that kind of shows that while Mick was crushing Mazepin, we really had difficulty seeing how good Mick was that year. So, but it's good to see him improving, and now he's running in the points. So double points for Haas. Great to see their improvement this year. But yeah, Alfa Romeo, whether Giovinazzi could have done better, has Haas really brought a Russian billionaire just to sack him after one season to build a Tizen midfield car. Yeah, it's hilarious and sad at the same time, isn't it? This is called the Master Plan. Yes, the Master Plan. It's the L Plan. L Plan, right? But yeah, whether Giovinazzi could have done better in the situation, I mean, so, well, I'm just trying to think of the drivers this year. It's Bottas and Joe. I mean, Bottas, I mean, people, I don't feel give him enough credit. Obviously, he never won a championship in all those years against Lewis. Lewis was a strong competitor, and with the 7 championships. But if you look at the amount of wins he got, he still seemed to get, I mean, he won at the Russian Grand Prix many times throughout his career, and he got many poles against Lewis. And now looking at this, the fact that Joe is beating him a lot in that Alfa Romeo, I feel that kind of shows that's like, I guess my point is we have a Mercedes driver in the Alfa Romeo, and even he can't bring it to be competitive. So yeah, I totally agree with you, and the fact Giovinazzi wouldn't be able to do that much more, because I mean, it's basically like as if you had Kimi Räikkönen in the car. You have some really experienced driver who ran at some top teams and couldn't make that car perform that much better. So but if I have to be honest, I feel that like we look at Williams and we look at Aston Martin, we see them often knocked out in Q1, and so I feel that while Alfa Romeo isn't doing well, I definitely don't feel like they're the worst team. They definitely have some below them, and if they're lucky, I feel like they can score points occasionally at some races. It's definitely not easy. Double points seems really challenging, but I don't feel like they're the lowest team, and it's not going to be impossible for them to get points. So I feel like Joe is constantly outperforming I mean, I feel if there's 2 guys that are outperforming what they have, it's Lando Norris and Joe. Lando Norris, I mean, look at Ricciardo suffering in the McLaren, and Norris is just being amazing. And then you're looking at Joe beating a Mercedes driver, or what should I call him? A post-Mercedes driver, I guess. But yeah, just to go back to Haas, though, I feel like what they've done, I mean, as painful as it was for Mick and Mazepin, I feel the funniest thing is like they spent all that money getting all the sponsorship from the Russian guys, and now they don't even have the sponsorship on the car this year because of the Russian debate. yeah, Joe exceeded expectations for this year, and yeah, I know we still got a lot of races to go. So I mean, Bottas could come back at him. And maybe he might have had some bad luck this season. I don't exactly know this. I don't remember any particular retirements. I feel like more than anything, Joe's been unlucky with like reliability, if I'm not wrong. But yeah, I'm excited to see how Haas continue to do. Obviously, I'm running the Mercedes car. I like the livery of this car a lot. I made a prediction before the start of the season that Russell would outscore Lewis in points, and I feel like I'm just constantly surprised by the fact that Red Bull and Ferrari seem to be the class of the field constantly. They're the number 1 and 2 team, and yet their reliability or some mistake from some strategy, most of the time Ferrari, leads to one of the Mercedes getting a podium. It just keeps happening race after race, and I'm just like, you Mercedes should be running 5th and 6th, and somehow you guys continue to get podium after podium because these top 2 teams are making mistake after mistake. And so it's like, I feel one time Russell gets the podium, one time Hamilton does, but I'm just like, it's a close battle between you guys, but you guys shouldn't be getting these podiums. I mean, no offense to you, obviously it's legitimate, you're not really doing anything wrong, but the fact that like pace-wise they shouldn't be running there is just constantly mind-boggling. It's like the top 2 teams need to stop making mistakes. They need to just get those 1, 2, 3, 4 positions. I don't care what order. Just get those points collected. Don't let Mercedes come back at you and actually don't let them have a chance, because it's happening far too often. But he's also a sponsorship driver. But he's been acceptable, if not for bad reliability. Fun fact is that every time Mercedes got a podium, someone in front of them had it. Yeah, exactly. It's like I want to see a race where Mercedes gets it on legitimate pace. I mean, I know that, what was it, Austria, I think, like Hamilton actually had a really solid chance before like that safety car came out, I think. I think it was it Silverstone? I think it was Silverstone, actually. And then Sainz got the win. And it's like, I know we've seen Hamilton win time after time after time, but just the fact that he's in like the 3rd best car this season, it would have been really cool to see that happen. So, especially at his home Grand Prix. But yeah, just looking towards the future, I'm really excited to see where Oscar Piastri and Logan Sargent were gonna come up. I mean, I feel there's been a lot of talk about Oscar Piastri maybe replacing Alonso at Alpine, or even something along the lines of like him going to Williams for 1 year, and then once Alonso retires, maybe like the next year then he'll replace Alonso. But I mean, he's been performing really well in F2. I don't know if he's actually running this year, or whether he won the championship last year. I forget the situation, but yeah, a lot of excitement about that. I think he'll join in 2023, so yeah, I'm curious about what team. There's probably going to be some reveal about what they'll be before the season's over. I'm assuming. I don't think it will happen after. I don't think it will happen. Well, I think there will be an announcement sometime earlier rather than later, I guess. And then Logan Sargent, just be cool to have an American in F1 for a long time. He's been performing really well. And then we got, oh gosh, what's his name? There's another guy that I feel like I've heard time after time in F2, but I can't remember his name right now. But Logan Sargent would be cool to see. And then there's also like the Andretti Motorsports, if I'm not wrong. Is that like a team that I believe is planning to join at some point? So having 11 teams on the grid definitely make things a bit more exciting. But you know, we've been talking about F1 for a long time, and now just going back to this race that we're running in. We're coming to 12 laps to go, and you can see our tires. Our tires are a little bit red. I can definitely feel them sliding a bit, and I know we're only 6 seconds ahead, or 7 or so, but I still am feeling like I'm going to switch to softs with about 5 laps to go. So about 5 to 6 more laps, and then we're going to pit for softs, and we're going to go for our fastest lap. We still haven't beaten our 32.35, but I feel with softs, I mean, softs compared to hards, they're so much faster. So I really think if we just get some clean air. Yeah, Pourchaire, that's who I was thinking of, Pourchaire. I've heard, like, he's so freaking young. I don't, I feel like he's what, like 18 or something. He's just incredibly young. I keep hearing about that. I don't feel like I've seen his face, but that's what I always hear about him. So yeah, he's just gone up the ranks super fast. And one thing that I remember seeing is, I think in the there was like an Australian series where Liam Lawson ran in. I should know the name of that Australian series, but I remember he raced against Igor Fraga, and then who was like an esports driver, and I actually raced against him in Gran Turismo, which is super cool. As he tried. Okay, Jesus. Okay. Well, we are basically about to wreck out of here, so I'm actually going to pit for softs this lap. Yeah, he's turning 19 this August. Okay, I'm going to pit for tires. But, the fact that Igor Fraga beat Liam Lawson, and then I just felt like he got like a really poor car in F3, and then Liam Lawson did really well, moved up to F2, I think, if I'm not wrong. I don't want to be speaking the wrong thing. I think he's in F2. I don't really follow it too accurately. And I just feel like, man, if Fraga had been put in a good team, he could have been racing right with Lawson there, and he would have been in F2. Would have been so cool to see. Let's pit for tires here, put on softs. It's always that same corner, man. Oh gosh, I don't even know if we have softs. Well, whatever. Let's see if we do. Do we have soft tires? Let's find out. Answer is yes, we do. Okay, we are down into third place. And once I pass these two cars, I'm just going to go for I'm going to go for 2 laps. I'm going to go for 1 full out lap, and then I'm going to do 1 full pace lap using overtake just to see what times we can get. So I'm just going to be silent for the next 2 laps, or I'll still talk this lap, but then when we get to the start of the next lap, I'll see if I can push. But yeah, if you want to put a prediction of what lap you think, what's the fastest lap I'll get in this race. But man, these tires, the brakes, everything feels so nice. We're down to only 25% fuel tank. Car is a lot lighter than it was at the start of the race. Back into the lead, just going to start to pull away. These pit stops are so short, man. We barely lost any time. But yeah, excited Step Pro. I love your username, but thank you for staying and chilling with me throughout the rest of this race. It's been fun to talk F1 and all of your thoughts about this. 120. Wow, you think that's optimistic. I love to see a 123, 124. I don't know if there's that much in there, but we'll give it a shot here. I'm just gonna focus, not talk too much in the next few laps, and see what we can do. Well, we gave it a shot. We pushed as hard as we could, and we gained, what, like 5 seconds on what our previous best was, like a 32.3. Got a 28.89 with no overtake, and then 27.6 with overtake. So we pushed like hell there going for those laps. We built our gap up to 16 seconds. And your prediction of 23.24, honestly, I was guessing 1:30. So we basically split right between your guess and mine. So you were 3 seconds fast, I was 3 seconds too slow. So yeah, nice guess. I think there's probably, I don't know, if we look at my optimal time, optimal's a 27.5. I feel there's probably like 3 or 4 more tenths in there. I made a few mistakes, but maybe a high 26. I don't really think there's much more than that. So, still coming to 7 laps to go. We're approaching the 1 hour 30-minute mark. So, yeah, thank you. It's a really good lap. Glad I didn't run into any traffic there that would have messed it up. We got a lot of clean track ahead of us, so yeah, maybe for the chicane or grass crossings. Yeah, I feel like once you get in the curves a little bit, those can upset the car, like that long right-hander. Not the banked one, but like the flat corner. I got a bit of that, and that slid the car a little bit. Could have been a 26.6 or so. Oh, you think it could have been a whole second faster, huh? Okay, well, I might pit in with like 3 to go. If you want me to try one more time with some full, fresh, soft tires, I'm willing to do it if you'd like me to. So, I'm going to give it a second shot. That was like my first qualifying run. But, so you say that you're going to Monza. Is this your, even though you said you live not too far away, is this your first time going there, or do you have you gone there like every year or years before? I just feel like if I lived so close to a track, I mean the closest track that I live to isn't like an F1 track, it's actually like just like a NASCAR track, and it's like one of the lower series. I guess if I was to like equate it to like a Formula level, it's like a Formula Renault 3.5 or like a Formula Ford class series that runs there, but like on the NASCAR level, it's like a quarter or like a 4/10 of a mile, or like I guess that's like half a kilometer or so. It's not it's like a half a kilometer oval, not a long track. And so I've been there. It's like maybe an hour drive from my house. And obviously, I'll tell you, the tickets are less to go there. You've been there 2014, 2016, 2017, and 13, can't remember. So, yeah, when I went to Montreal, the thing that I was surprised about that I didn't even think it said on the tickets, but you got like, it was like a Porsche Cup series run before the race, and then we also got like a Ferrari Cup that ran before. And you've been introduced, oh, that's cool. Yeah, my parents really aren't really into racing too much. I guess I just kind of got into it by myself, and my brother's interested in it. I guess like I went from like NASCAR to like IndyCar, and then IndyCar kind of spread to Formula One. I feel like I was really kind of only NASCAR for like a long time, probably up to like around 2010, and then NASCAR started. I was a fan of Jeff Gordon in NASCAR, and then when he retired, I was like, I don't really have someone to cheer for, so I'm just going to be a spectator and like just enjoying motorsports. And so I started to like move around to a lot of other things. And once I started watching F1 more, I really liked just how everything was broadcast, how detailed they went into like all the aspects of strategy and all that stuff. I felt that NASCAR took itself less seriously, and I just really liked all the detailed aspects of it. The fact they got to have all like the cameras and talk to like all like the team bosses about what's going on mid-race, and analyze like the good lap versus great laps, and like Julian Palmer's analysis on YouTube. I love watching that type of stuff. It's just so in-depth. So, but yeah, I guess I was just wondering, I was mentioning how I saw the Porsche Cup and the Ferrari Cup. When you were at Monza in those previous years, do you recall, was it just like the F1 race, or was it like, did they have the Porsche Cup, Ferrari Cup, like other series that ran? Or was, I mean, I know sometimes like some tracks don't have those Porsche Cup, Ferrari Cup type series, but instead they have like Formula 2 that runs there like the day before, so you get to see like the Formula 2 race, I guess. Or I guess it was, I don't know if it was GP2 back then, I don't know when that was changed. But you met Gunther Steiner. That's so cool. Yeah, I've never met any F1 guys, unfortunately. I'd say probably the most famous guy I met was LeBron James. I was passing him in a hotel, and he was on his phone, and so it was like I tried to wave, but he kind of like waved me off since he was busy. But I got to see him, so that was kind of cool. And I think I went to like a Myrtle Rouge racing school. It was kind of like we were on holiday in the same location at a beach resort. Oh, that is so cool. Yeah, it's like that is... I don't exactly know if you'd expect to run into someone at a beach resort. I mean, I guess if he was surrounded by people actually, like security people that he was surrounded by, or maybe like his family people. I don't know. I guess you can always be like the one guy that recognizes him, or I mean, I bet he's probably more recognizable than just you, but I wonder if like you asked him for a photo and whether he was willing to oblige or whether he was just a bit busy. Since I'm wondering how the story is going to go. You got to see him but not really meet him type thing, or was it more than that? And even if you were able to meet him, I feel a lot of those times it's like you're kind of too scared to go up. It's like it's one of those, not necessarily like a hero of securities and photographers. It's like a lot of those times when you come up to someone that like you recognize and it's like you've seen on TV and it's so cool for you to see, you're just almost too nervous to say hi to them. I remember going to a restaurant actually like a few years ago, and I think it was John Wall. Like he was a player of like the Washington D.C. basketball team, and he was hiding his face with the menu because he didn't want people in the restaurant to recognize him. It was the funniest thing. So he didn't have security, but he hid himself with the menu. Anyways, we're gonna pit for soft tires here. We're gonna give our fastest lap one more shot to come to the final 3 laps here. Just about finishing up our F1 race. We were able to go from 4 laps down to in the lead by about 20 seconds. Just slowing down to 50 miles per hour. Putting on our soft tires. Been to the Kids Leroy's concert in Milan 4 days ago. I probably should know who that is, but I don't recognize who Kid Leroy is. So I'm not too much into... I don't know if that's like a singer or a DJ or so. I'm just not much into the pop culture type stuff, I guess. At least music-wise. But, so oh, he's a famous singer. Got it. Yeah, I'll see if I can check him out afterwards. But, so, you said that you like F1 and stuff like that. Do you play any of these other games? Like, do you play GT7 at all, or do you just mostly just enjoy watching the stuff on TV? I mean, even Forza, I guess, like, counts any Xbox stuff. GTA 5, I guess you could classify that as a racing game. Up to you, but yeah, I kind of just like racing a lot of stuff, but probably not going to respond to your answer, but I will see it, and I'll, he's not from the US, but he lives there. Oh, okay, got it. So yeah, these final 2 laps, again, I'm just going to do the first one, no overtake, and the second lap I'll do with overtake. You got GT Sport, so, oh, okay. Yeah, I like GT Sport a lot. It's had a lot of fun on that in previous years, so go for these final 2 laps, see if we can beat our 27.6. Here we go, final 2, let's go for it all. So that first sector I was a quarter second down, so I'm actually just going to slow down here, that way I can prepare for my final lap. I just don't want to catch the lap cars ahead on the final lap, I just want to give myself some space. Just going to warm up the tires here, and use all the rest of the overtake I can for this final lap and a little bit. We got a 20-second lead over second place, just want to make sure we don't catch the lap cars ahead of us. And yeah, if we can get under a 27 or a low 27, I'll be so happy. But yeah, we got to really give it our all here. And Super Formula car with the Ferrari livery downloaded. Yeah, so yeah, the Super Formula is a blast. But here we go, final lap. Oh man, I don't think we got the 26, but I think we got like a 27-1. There we go. Final lap 1:27.124 at the bottom. Oh man, that last lap we gave it our all. So started from 4 laps down at the very beginning of the race, put the 19th and 20th 1 lap down, and ended up getting first place by 14 seconds. Whew. Low 27s, thank you very much. Yeah, I pushed that as much as I could. So, Alsace done, checked off the box, French Grand Prix, and excited to see that. Before we go here, 189 miles, got a nice driving marathon. I always like to make predictions for the upcoming F1 race. So, I just finished the mock French GP at Alsace in GT7, yes. But who do I think is going to get on the podium at Paul Ricard? I know we're still a week away. Normally I like to see the practice times to make a guess. We saw Max Verstappen, Charles Leclerc, Sainz, Perez. They're always really strong. I feel Perez is strong at street circuits. I saw him strong at Baku, obviously. He just had his engine problem at Canada, and Sainz had his engine problem at Austria. Therefore, I think that Sainz, he's probably gonna get a grid penalty for that, even though he might have a new car. I don't even know if he'll get a penalty, but I'm gonna assume he is. So I'm not gonna put him on the podium. I think it's definitely Perez versus Verstappen's track. Yeah, that's a very solid prediction. I mean, it's probably boring. I'm leaning towards Verstappen for the win here. The question is who's going to finish up on that podium. Sainz, assuming he's in the back, it's only going to leave Leclerc as the remaining car. So a safe bet would probably be Verstappen, Perez, Leclerc. You could probably switch around those two. Then again, you could always get a safety car in there, make things interesting with someone trying to undercut. Because, what if Perez is trying to, maybe Red Bull tries to block Leclerc by fighting them by putting Perez doing a short stint, or Verstappen doing a short stint and Perez doing an overstop, I don't know, these are not the right terms, but a long stint versus a shorter stint. They own it, but Hamilton could also do it if Mark can hold on to our Red Bulls and Ferrari's pace. Once again, it seems like they're always stealing podiums, but they aren't really able to steal wins too much. And so even if they are stealing it, and somehow, I mean, it's not another team, I don't see McLaren stealing anything. I mean, would it be Alpine if it isn't? I mean, I feel Mercedes is going to be right there, probably more than anyone. I'm leaning towards Russell if there's going to be any stealing action, but I'm going to, man, I want to say Verstappen, Perez, Leclerc, but I feel Perez is going to be the short stick here, where it's like he's going to be pitting in something. But there's such long straights, and the Red Bulls are so good on the straight line speed that I feel that yeah, they just can't be stopped straight line because there's that super long back straight. So will Leclerc have problems? Will Ferrari botch it up? They're gonna have momentum from the win. They feel like they fixed their strategy problems. So after long last, gosh, you know what? I'm gonna make it interesting. I'm gonna say, you know what? Leclerc is gonna somehow magically get some straight line speed and manage to overtake Perez. So even though I'm leaning towards Verstappen, Perez, Leclerc, I'll switch those two. I'll say Verstappen, Leclerc, Perez, and I don't think I'm gonna say Mercedes actually isn't gonna be too close. I feel they're gonna have trouble here. There's just not gonna be the straight line's just gonna be too overpowering for them to be able to catch Leclerc there. So there's my prediction. Thank you for watching. And yeah, we're able to get our own French GP in here. And yeah, thanks for talking to you, Excited Step Pro. It was fun, and hope you enjoy Monza later this year. I definitely need to get to an F1 race sometime soon, but yeah, if the US keeps keeping those prices high for these GPs, it's gonna be hard. So you're gonna say Verstappen, Sainz, Leclerc. Can I send you a PSN frame? I guess sure. Yeah, I'd appreciate it. Yeah, PSN is PX7 John. I like doing these endurance races every once in a while. I'd love to do it with some other actual drivers. Obviously AI is pretty boring, I realize that. It's just GT7, I've been having issues with the servers, and I mean I'd like to get a full field, and plus these long races, I feel that the daily races, they're so much shorter and people are accustomed to those that I don't know people would be able to actually focus for like an hour, 30 hour, 40 minutes. So I feel like I just do it with AI, just that way I'll have people that stay. I feel that even if you do get a lobby for this race, half the grid's gonna leave after they realize they're off the pace. So yeah, I like to keep a full field, like to deal with the lap traffic, all that action and stuff. So if you'd like me to do a race with some dynamic weather though, I'm totally up for that. Trying to do like changing conditions. That'll make things more interesting. So I'll accept your friend request, and yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'm gonna end it here, but yeah, it was fun. We got the win in our Mercedes Super Formula, and hope you guys enjoyed, and hope you enjoy the French Grand Prix coming in next week. Thanks for watching, and see you guys next time.